I'm here, just like last year, to give you an update on what we've done in the last year. So basically, since last June was our conference. It was titled The Coptic Problem, Hate Based on Religion. It was hosted in this very same room, and we have Congressman French Hill to thank for getting us this room yet again. He really is a champion, yes. So a few highlights of our work from the past year. Some of these you've probably heard a little bit about during various presentations, but I want to kind of give you a picture of what it is that we feel like we have achieved in the past year. One of the biggest things is the report that Sonia Dahlmans wrote, Hidden Crimes, Public Deception, the Epidemic of Abductions and Forced Disappearance of Coptic Women and Girls. What is different about this report, as opposed to Jihad of the Womb, which we published several years ago, is that it sheds light on the evolving tactics of Muslim traffickers and the groups who target Coptic women and minor girls. It really looks into targeting of especially vulnerable people, of women maybe who have mental health issues or physical health issues. She paints a very clear picture of why these women are the ones who are targeted. So Jihad of the Womb was our first report that covered trafficking, and is basically the report that is most utilized by the United Nations, by different governments, our own government, and legislators. I believe very soon this new report will be in that same position. Sonia was able to come from the Netherlands, so we want to thank all of the supporters who donated to help bring her here. Her participation is really important, yeah. Speaking of the report as well, I want to acknowledge that we have several executive committee members, that's our board members, who volunteer their time and their expertise. And we have several, including Radha here, who spent a lot of time helping with translations and interviews and just did so much to make the report possible. Yeah. Another thing I want to mention is that, yes. Another thing I would like to mention is you've seen a lot of the folks from Jubilee Campaign with us yesterday and today. Joseph from Jubilee Campaign Netherlands, as well as Sydney and Hulda from Jubilee Campaign USA. Yeah. Some of the most selfless partners that you will ever meet. The event we had yesterday, which was the joint congressional briefing, that was really possible because we have been hosting a number of joint side events up in New York, particularly during the Commission on Status of Women. So this wasn't just something that came together all of a sudden. It's been a growing partnership, bringing in other organizations. That's actually how we met Jamila as well, from the Canadian Yazidi organization. So one of the things that we worked on was we joined with a lot of other organizations to lobby for a change in language on the annual resolution on child and early forced marriage. This last November, language was added, explicitly highlights the need to address impunity surrounding abductions, trafficking, and forced religious conversions of women and girls by armed groups, and what's different and other non-state actors. That's what happens in Egypt and in Pakistan. It's not always armed groups. That was the key that we were able to have added. So we're starting to build momentum. The report that Sonia wrote has opened some new opportunities for us. One of those is that a Dutch parliamentarian utilized the report to present questions. There was also a group of parliamentarians at the European Union who also cited our report and submitted formal questions. So that means that it's getting out there and it's going to continue to get more traction, I believe. You've heard from Mark, so y'all know that Mark has done incredible research for us. He's also helped us at the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. So this last year was our third time going since we've gotten our ECOSOC status, which is our nonprofit status. And it's a whole deal trying to get to give a speech, because you can't just sign up online for this forum. You have to stand in line. And typically people who fly all the way to New York will will have to stand in line or sit in the hallway for hours to get your name on a list to maybe get to give a 3-minute speech. Thanks to our Syrian partners, Carmela got in line, and because of that, Mark was able to give our first speech at the UN Permanent Forum. Yeah. I hope you're seeing a theme here, which is none of this would have happened without all of our partners, and so we really do appreciate everything. The speech that Mark gave, 3-minute speech, an Egyptian delegate responded to his speech the very same day. Oh, you're seeing pictures of it, yes. You need to watch it. It's on our website. It's on our YouTube channel. It's very telling. Other things we did while we were at the UN is particularly just meeting with different UN country missions, creating awareness about our work, building relationships with different governments. All of that comes together to continue giving us opportunities to advocate. Another thing that we do, you're probably familiar with, every year we write an analysis of both the State Department's International Religious Freedom Report as well as the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, their Egypt chapter. Because of our annual analyses, the reports are getting better. You know, several years ago, they didn't include anything about the missing Coptic women. Now they do. That's because of our consistent analysis saying you need to include this is happening, this is a big problem. I'm happy to say that in the last State Department report on Egypt, they addressed every single point of criticism that we made. That's never happened. 15-year anniversary, yeah. That was very exciting. We continue to do our meetings and our outreach with members of Congress. We are a nonpartisan, secular organization. Not everyone understands that. We don't have, we don't have any kind of affiliation with political parties. And I hope that you saw that we had a number of members of Congress who spoke yesterday and today from both parties. So we continue to develop those relationships. Thank you to everyone who came to the lobbying meetings with us. I should say legislative meetings. But basically, all together with our partners, we had 2 days of meetings where we were able to share joint policy asks. And a lot of it was focused on foreign influence, but we also had a pamphlet that we put together, just say a booklet actually, that included information on Copts, Assyrians, and Yazidis with specific asks for each, and then our joint asks. So I think that we're moving in the right direction in terms of partnering and also giving more concrete things for members of Congress to look into doing. Combating foreign influence, we had a whole session on that, so I don't really need to cover it a whole lot. I would like to say, though, a big thank you to Christine, who came to speak. The influence, I would like to say that it extends to clergy, to religious leaders, nonprofit leaders, legislators, and government officials. There's transnational repression. Most Copts are too scared to speak, and a lot of them have good reasons to be. So we had somebody pull out a witness because of that, and we're really grateful that Christine came, and that shows a lot of bravery. Hopefully that will encourage other people to participate. So this work requires a lot of partnering and coalition building. We thank all of our partners. Another thing that we do is the monitoring and reporting on systematic discrimination, attacks on Copts and their properties. I won't go into that a lot because Raymond just spoke about it and he is one of our writers, but essentially, I would say one of the most important things our organization does is a lot of the information is only in Arabic. So a Western audience doesn't really understand what's happening. And then you add to that a lot of news is on Facebook in Arabic. So you can imagine like a Western audience just really doesn't know, oh, this girl disappeared, or there's just so many things that are reported. So Coptic Solidarity Team, and this is volunteered by our board members as well as people like Raymond, are the ones who make it possible to provide that information to government officials. Otherwise, in our audience, no one would really understand what's happening. And then the last thing I want to mention is that, and it's an opportunity, if you have young people in your family who are interested in interning or volunteering, not necessarily just young people, but I'm thinking internship, of course. We've had our most diverse group of interns this last year. We had a high school student from Texas who's interned with us, Ria Detta, and also we had another one, Ladia Kong, who is Burmese, but was studying in high school in Boston, and she also has volunteered her time with us. So we have some very interesting people, and they've made a really huge difference. So if people have anyone in your family or your contacts that are interested in interning, please have them contact us. We can always use the help. So everyone, thank you so much for joining our conference. I want to make one last announcement.